Welcome to View from the Top. This week's guest was Jonathan Newhouse, the chairman of Conde Nast International, the media group. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the rise of digital media, but in this first clip, Mr. Newhouse is quite bullish about the prospects for traditional print industries.
The blogger has a role, they're present, but what I don't see, at least I certainly don't see it in our part of the industry, is the demise of print. If you just looked at our circulation and advertising figures in a vacuum, you would never think that anything was happening outside the industry. They're stable or growing, many of our magazines growing in circulation, new markets are exploding. So I think the rise of digital doesn't mean at all the decline of print.
Well, joining me now to discuss the interview is Vanessa Friedman, our fashion editor. Vanessa, it doesn't sound like the rise of digital media is going to detract from Conde Nast International's bread and butter anytime soon. In other words, it's magazine publishing.
I think there's a tendency among all of us, and I think we're probably as guilty as anyone, to be very binary about how we think about these things. Like, you're either in print or you're online, and one's going to destroy the other. And I think his point is fair enough. The two medium can work together and in fact can complement each other, and we should probably pause before we immediately say, oh, shock, horror, the end of days. I think fashion is also a very trend-driven industry, and a lot of the companies that he deals with and the magazines deal with are at the moment very entranced with the digital world, but that doesn't mean that they're pulling their ad spend from his magazines. So, his numbers on the ground, I think, indicate that he's just fine.
And while he's confident that the magazine industry is in good shape, he's also not afraid of diversification. Here's Mr. Newhouse talking about the Taiwan approach of Conde Nast International.
I'm not saying that we're going to exactly replicate the Taiwan strategy in every market, but it certainly points a way forward. We're on cable TV, we have video, extensive TV operation, we have not only magazine-based websites, but video websites, blog websites, we do contract publishing, we have a public relations division, so an advertiser can come to us and we will do everything for them.
Vanessa, Conde Nast produces high-end luxury magazines. Do you think there's a danger that it could spread itself too thin and potentially even dilute its brand?
Well, I think their sense is if they don't do it, somebody else will. If they don't do Vogue TV, someone else is going to be doing Vogue TV, so it might as well be them, because what better custodian of their brand than themselves? The bigger danger is probably in a lot of their new territories. They're working with franchise partners, licensees, and it's having the right controls in place to make sure that your on-the-ground partner is doing what you want to do with your brand.
And Mr. Newhouse also talks about the brand-orientated consumers in the developing world. Here he is talking about some of the challenges in entering some of those emerging markets.
Vietnam we're looking at. I think it's a couple of years away. Some of those other countries are Muslim countries, and for a fashion magazine like Vogue, that poses issues. And I'm not sure the culture, the political culture, or the fashion culture is compatible with the values of Vogue. I'm not saying we would never go into those countries, but we would have to carefully consider. Also, I think on an economic level, some of them aren't ready. I certainly don't think Bangladesh, Nigeria, or Pakistan are quite ready for Vogue.
So Vanessa, do you think that Conde Nast could ever really change its values to succeed in some of these markets? I mean, could we even see a Muslim Vogue?
I think, like any luxury brand, to change the core of your value system is to invite disaster, so my guess would be no. On the other hand, you also have to look at what is going on the ground in these countries, and there isn't any particular fashion industry there to speak of, so there's also no build happening for a magazine like Vogue. I think if that starts to happen, then the situation may well change.
Okay, Vanessa, well, thank you very much indeed. Now you can watch the full interview with Mr. Newhouse by clicking on the link below, and tune in next week for another View from the Top.